demonstration video about Puritan Bennett ventilator. On this video, we will talk about the introduction, parts, short self-test, samples or abbreviation, device setup, patient setup, modes, graphics, and alarms. Puritan Bennett TM840 ventilator system is for acute and subacute care of infant, pediatric, and adult patient. Software option available from Puritan provide additional ventilation function. Puritan Bennett 840 ventilator component, user interface, compressor cart, breath delivery unit, backup power source. Ventilator graphic user interface is consist of two screens, upper screen and lower screen. Upper screen monitored information like alarm and patient data. Lower screen is just for a ventilator setting. Off screen keys and knob. You can read this paper, it will help you to know more about the user interface component. Connect the device to the electricity and turn it on. Connect the oxygen and air to the wall. Connect the expiratory filter and make sure that the filter is actually secured. Connect the inspiratory lamp to the bacterial filter, then connect it to the device. How to run short self-test in the Puritan Bennett to make sure the ventilator is working properly. SST uses an internal program sequence of tests to verify proper function of the flow and pressure sensor, check the patient circuit for gas leaks, measure the expiratory filter resistance, measure patient circuit resistance, measure patient circuit compliance. SST require approximately 3 minutes to complete. This video, it will show you how to do this test. sample or abbreviation. The upper screen consists of display graphics, more patient data, alarm log, active alarms, other screens, trending option. The lower screen consists of ventilator setup, apnea setup, alarm setup, and other screen. There is a lot of abbreviation in the Puritan Bennett ventilator. This paper will help you to know it. How to set up a Puritan Bennett ventilator.
About navigating.
This video will help you to know how to set up the device.
And ultimately, we will finish with a ventilator that is ready to ventilate a patient. So let's talk about the GUI one more time. If you remember, it's two screens in one. Top half display is patient, bottom half is keyboard. That's you entering information. I'm down here on this lower left. We have same patient, new patient, or SST. So the machine is ready to set up. So we'll select a new patient. Remember this coaching box. Remember. The easiest thing to do is let the machine tell you what to do. And it says touch IBW button. That's this guy right here. So once you touch that, the machine begins to reveal itself in terms of other options. So once you touch body weight, well, then use the wheel or the knob rather, to go ahead and put in your patient's body weight. Don't get hung up on whether it's ideal body weight or dry weight. That's your discretion. Just get the weight in the box. So, we'll ventilate me today, 75 kilos. Next is vent type. Are you invasive or non-invasive? Invasive, of course, means you have an endotracheal tube or a trach tube. Non-invasive is everything else outside of the vocal cords. And now below this are your different modes. So Puritan Bennett likes to layer out the different modes from the different breath types. And anytime you select a mode like spontaneous, only the breath types pertinent to that mode reveal themselves, right? So for AC, you can use pressure control, volume control, or VC+. I will talk about each of these in far more detail later. In SIMV, you have some mandatory breaths. You also have some spontaneous breaths, right? Think pressure support or tube compensation, or maybe nothing, and I'll talk about that later. And so again, moving left to right is now your trigger type. You have either flow triggering or pressure triggering. So I think just to get the ventilator started, I'm going to just go very simple and call up AC, volume control, flow trigger. My coaching box says once I have these set in the right position, push continue. We do continue, and now you see the actual vent settings themselves, each parameter in its own little piece of real estate here. So F is your frequency or respiratory rate. Now, how are you going to remember that when you're not watching the video? If you notice down here on the bottom of the screen, because this has been touched, it's active, it kind of defines itself. F equals respiratory rate. Well, that just made the learning a little bit easier. The machine's going to tell you what everything is on it. VT is your set tidal volume, right? So you can use the wheel and kind of adjust it to 350. Vmax, that's your peak flow rate, right? So go ahead and set that in an appropriate place. And I'm going to ask as I turn this wheel that you notice this breath timing bar. So take a good look right here while I move the flow rate. And you can see that an increased flow rate impacts inspiratory time and expiratory time and the IE ratio. So you have a very easy visual to help you pick and choose an appropriate flow rate, either based on patient need or something about inspiratory time, IE ratio related. Again, there's flow trigger. The machine defaults to 3 liters per minute for an adult. If for any reason your patient is struggling to trigger, then you might lower that a little bit. I'll leave it at 3 for now. That's your FiO2. How do I know that? Remember, the little translator's right there to tell you. I'm just going to back that down a little bit for fun. And beneath that is your PEEP. Put it at 5, and I'm just setting some real vanilla settings here. peak pressure of 40. Okay, if this is where your vent settings need to be, the doctor has ordered it, you are ready to go. Press accept to confirm the whole batch. And now, if your eyes will go to the top of the screen, you can see the ventilator now says waiting for patient connect. And the appearance has changed completely.
Patient setup. First of all, you have to press a new patient, then you can initiate a new patient setup. How to set the mode in a Puritan Bennett 840 ventilator. First of all, touch the setup button in the lower screen, then change the ventilator setup like mode, types of a breath and types of a trigger. Then turn the knob to set the value. What about new modes? Mandatory breath times PC only, spontaneous breath PS or TC. Set RR, beep high, time beep high, beep low, time of the beep low. Spontaneous breath only during beep low times unless higher than beep high setting. Then, what is the ABRV? ABRV is similar but utilize a very short expiratory time for pressure release. This short time at low pressure allows for ventilation. ABRV always implies an inverse ratio. All spontaneous breath is done at upper pressure level. Clinical advantages to ABRV: biologically variable tidal volume, helps to minimize athletic trauma while ventilating using the open lung strategy. Volume support, spontaneous mode, not set RR, set tidal volume, sensitivity, rise time. Similar to Servo 300. As patient does more work, pressure levels decrease to target chosen tidal volume. As patient does less work, pressure levels increase to target chosen tidal volume. VC Plus, dual mode similar to BRVC. Set targeted tidal volume, beep, inspiratory time, RR, slope, FIU2. First breath delivered a volume targeted, decelerating flow waveform breath to measure the airway resistance and lung compliance. Delivers next breath as a pressure to get targeted tidal volume. TC, automatic tube compensation, spontaneous breath type that attempts to overcome the imposed work for breathing from an artificial airway. Pressure support, PS, spontaneous breath type, same as other ventilators discussed. Where will you find the graphics? Alarm handling,